Welcome to TERRA's Third Thursday video podcast, a strategic discussion designed to help your organization capitalize on your e-stewards and or R2V3 certification. I am your co-presenter and host, Stephen Napoli, President and CEO of TERRA, the Electronics Reuse and Recycling Alliance. Although we've changed formats from a live event to a pre-recorded session, we know you're going to find extra value in being able to listen or watch this program at your convenience. For our regular consumers of these sessions, you'll know that TERRA Third Thursday sessions are brief and designed to provide you with useful information to enhance your knowledge, operations, and bottom line. And as a reminder, all of this content is available on our website, jointerra.org. Before we get started, I want to acknowledge the wildfires that continue to ravage Southern California. To our members and everyone impacted by the devastation, me and my co-host Shannon send our thoughts and prayers. We'd also like to take a moment to acknowledge our renewing and new members since our last session. Environmental Office Solutions, Green Tech, Tech Buyer, C&I Electronics, and SEM Recycling are all returning, as well as our allied member Zippy Race, who will be our host next month. New members include the Arcoa Group, CompuCycle, Accurate IT, my friend Jack, ESCO Processing and Recycling coming back, and Cyclic Materials, who is currently an allied member but is in process of getting their R2V3 certification. So we look forward to welcoming them as a certified member very soon. Thank all of you. We always endeavor to be brief and to the point, so let's get started. Today, I am very pleased to welcome Shannon Fertitta, the newish executive director at RIOS, to discuss the power of RIOS, successful outcomes for your recycling business. Well, again, thank you and welcome to TERRA's inaugural video podcast. Our Third Thursday series starts here in January 2025. This is our fourth year, our fourth season of this. And I would like to thank my guinea pig, Shannon Fertitta, with RIOS to be our guest host this month. So I would like to turn it over to her, let her introduce herself, and talk a little bit about the importance of RIOS.
Awesome. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you for inviting me to come on your podcast and share this presentation with your audience of responsible recyclers. I'm super excited to be here. Just a little history for me. I've been with GRSO, the RIOS organization, since September of last year. So still kind of learning a little as I go, but I do bring 20 plus years of experience in electronics recycling in Louisiana. We did a nonprofit mission-based recycling, deeply involved in the R2 and RIOS management systems, and really just setting the tone for the way that recycling should happen in the state of Louisiana. Did lots of important work there. So I also served on the RIOS board for about 5 years before I came on as an employee. So I'm really, really thrilled, and I have been enjoying my time so far.
We
So
appreciate you being part of this today, and being a partner and a member with us when you were at CACRC.
Absolutely. So it all comes full circle.
It does.
I am every day I am blessed, and I feel very fortunate to be a part of such an important industry. And I think that we are definitely making the world better. So that's me. All right. I think we're ready to get into it.
Yeah, let's talk RIOS.
So let's get this.
And while you're getting that, just for our listeners, I just want to say, a shout out to someone who I'm thinking about this morning, Joe Clayton. He's got a brother who is recovering from surgery. He mentioned to me about this presentation when I told him about it that, and I quote, "RIOS is the cheapest insurance you can get." So I think that's a pretty, high recommendation from someone who's been in this industry a good while and knows what's going on.
Definitely. Okay, so I believe that we are sharing now.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
today's presentation is all about the power of RIOS. I am going to talk about how to supercharge your business outcomes with some of those valuable RIOS tools. So I do hope everybody's having a great, successful new year at their respective businesses thus far. And I want to take a minute to say thank you to our RIOS membership who are tuning in today. And I'm really excited to bring some of this information to you. And I think that it's going to give you some really good tips as you chart your plans for the year ahead. So let's get started. Okay, so we're all here, we're all certified recyclers, and we believe in doing things right. Now, as certified recyclers, we all have to have that QEHS management system. And there are a couple of different options out there. If you participate in electronics recycling, refurbishment, ITAD, reuse, you already know that to complement your R2 or your eSteward system, you need to have a RIOS QEHS management system or the ISO systems. So let's take a look at those options. All right, so of course, there is the RIOS system. RIOS stands for the Recycling Industry Operating Standard. So the important thing to know about RIOS is that it is an integrated system. What that means is you have one system that incorporates the components of quality, environmental, and health and safety management. So you're not using these separate buckets. You're using one system to manage all of those things. Another thing that's important to note that is this was a system created by recyclers, specifically for the recycling industry. About 20 years, some very, very experienced and intelligent people from REMA, used to be known as ISRI, got together and said, you know what, we need to create a management system just for the activities that are happening in recycling facilities. So that's what they did. They got together and they drafted that first version of the RIO system. And in doing so, they created an independent organization called the Global Recycling Standards Organization. And that's the organization that administers the RIOS standard. The very first facility was certified to RIOS in 2008. So that was an exciting moment.
About how many
About
do
10,
you have right now? Or am I jumping ahead a little bit?
no, you're okay. The RIOS membership is just over 300 members.
That's great.
Yes, so it is a very popular management system. And it's interesting because once people begin using the management system, they start to see the benefits of it and wonder what they did before. They wondered how they ran their businesses before having it in place. So, but yeah, so 10 years after its original writings, it was released with an update. That was the RIOS 2016 version. And now we're kind of getting close to the next 10-year mark, and probably will have a little bit of updates and some additions, some things to make it even more robust and address some of the challenges that, of course, everybody's faced with.
And things
So,
change, and we've got
yeah.
R2V3 and eStewards 4.0, and like I'm sure you got to just keep these things fresh and make sure that they dovetail with what your other programs really well.
Absolutely. And we'll kind of be doing a collection of, we'll be looking for feedback from various players in the industry. And if you are a current, member facility for RIOS and you think there are things that you could suggest to make it even better than it is, definitely open to that too. There will be more information forthcoming there. So another thing about RIOS that's important to know is that it is a fully accredited standard through ANAB. And ANAB is the ANSI National Accreditation Board. It's the largest accreditation board in North America, and it oversees all of the certifying bodies who are going to be doing and conducting those audits at your facility. So, many of you already take part in those audits and you kind of understand those processes. So you already know that It is a fully accredited standard, and there are a few certification bodies who support those audits.
So the same auditors that they're working with for R2 and e-stewards are working with RIOS.
That's correct. So for the most part, if you're in North America and you've got R2V3, you've got e-stewards, the certifying bodies, the consultancies, they're already prepared to incorporate RIOS not only into your auditing plans, but also into those certification plans. So, all right. So what else is there? The ISO standards are the alternative to a QEHS system for your business. What is ISO? ISO is the International Standards Organization. It has been around for a long time. It is a extremely generalized standard organization. So basically, if you are a hospital, if you are a restaurant, if you build mop buckets, if you create construction materials, you can subscribe to the ISO standards. So the three ISO standards that you're going to be looking for in your electronics recycling business are going to be the big three. It's going to be your health and safety, which is 45,001. It's going to be your environmental, which is 14,001, and it's going to be your quality, which is 9,001. ISO also offers a whole host of other standards, 25,000 plus. If you brew tea, if you test medical devices, it's countless. Any business you could possibly participate in, there's an ISO standard to help you manage that. And it's very unspecific. It's
It's a
not specific
checkbox.
to what you do. That's right. So, it's good for international and cross-industry standards. It's known in other parts of the world because of its longevity, which is an advantage to the ISO standards. It's used a lot with manufacturing, car dealerships, like I said, hospitals, restaurants, things of that nature. And that's just sort of the fundamental difference.
So you all are basically replacing. So here we are. This is the
Correct.
difference. This is where the
That's
rubber
right.
meets the road with RIOS versus ISO.
Correct. So just to summarize the real key differences between the two. The ISO standards, in terms of what you need for your electronics management, you'll need those three separate ISO standards. But with RIOS, you only need one because it incorporates the spirit of all three of those things: your health and safety, your quality, and your environmental. Another key difference is you have to audit to three separate standards with the ISOs. With
Audit
RIOS,
your work.
that's right. With RIOS, it's one audit. And it's incorporated into your R2 or your e-stewards. With the ISO standards, you don't receive any templates or guidance. You receive a copy of the standard and best wishes. With RIOS, you are provided with a huge toolbox with hundreds of pages of templates and guidance, known as the RIG, lovingly, the RIOS Implementation Guide.
Oh, I love that.
Yes.
I love
And
using the word rig whenever I can.
that's right. It's lovingly named the RIG. And again, with ISO, you don't really get support after the sale. With RIOS, hello, you get me, and you get the expertise and the experience of my board. I've got an incredible board of directors standing behind me. I've got a great advising team, and we're here to support your success. When you have RIOS, when you're a RIOS member, you're part of the family. And if you have questions along the way as you are implementing the standard, if you're doing it for the first time, if you've been doing it for 20 years, we're here to support you when you have questions, when you're preparing for audits. if you have questions post certification, that's what we're here for. We're here to help you succeed and have the best possible experience with your RIOS membership.
So I'm hearing the S's: simple, streamlined, system, support. That seems to
Absolutely.
be some pretty big differentiators versus alternative routes.
That is correct. The whole idea of RIOS is for it to be streamlined, and to be a simpler way for a recycler to incorporate all of those aspects. So, all right. So now that you know the difference between those sort of two management systems, I want to talk about some of those RIOS superpowers for you. So superpower number one, time to flex your muscles. You have bulletproof communication plans with your RIOS system. So we all know that accidents can happen. Just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean that it can't or it won't happen. It's not an if, it's a when. Okay. So communication is going to be key in accident prevention. So let's think about that. That's probably one of the most critical ways that we communicate in our RIOS communication plans, our internal communications. Okay. So let's think about how critical that is to the success of our business, of the inner workings of our business. Our health and safety programs. Okay. We are building these incredible, important health and safety programs that we are communicating internally with our teams, with our senior management, to our staff. We are holding safety committee meetings. We are putting together members of our teams together to talk about these issues. You know, these things are so critical for success. Making sure that your staff feel trained and that they feel safe. That is one of the most critical aspects of internal communication. None of us want to have to make that call that to a family member that an employee on your watch was critically injured or worse while doing their job at your facility. So this is just case in point of how those internal communication plans that you receive with RIOS are setting you up for success. So I know that before I try any new product or look for a contractor to come into my home or my business to repair something or install something, I'm going to be looking at their reviews. I'm going to check them out on Yelp. I'm going to check them out. If it's a product, I'm going to be looking at the Amazon feedback. I'm going to see what other people, what their experience was using that product or that person. I don't want to be the person who has a bad experience. I want to see if this person had a great experience. So everybody understands that this is a world that is driven by customer feedback. Okay. If you are providing services or products that are, you know, great quality, rigorously tested, you have great controls in place, you are establishing very effective customer communication plans. That is power. So it's very important for us as responsible recyclers and a responsible business to listen to our customers, to make sure that if mistakes happen, and you know what, they're going to happen. We're all human. We're businesses run by humans. So mistakes occasionally will happen, even in the most efficient businesses. How you respond to that mistake is really what defines you. So that is how your customer communication plans are your superpower, okay? When you positively respond to your customers, they remember, and that will have a lasting impression. One bad experience, one bad customer experience can destroy a business. It can have a ripple effect. If you have a customer situation that has really gone badly for them, it is key for you to have that effective communication with your customer, help with finding a solution for their problems. Because if it goes the other way, it could really be disastrous for your business.
Absolutely.
Okay. So external communications are so critical. As responsible recyclers, we are doing incredible work. I
We have a
mean,
great story to tell.
listen, we're doing incredible work for this nation. We are doing incredible work. Um, and you should be taking credit for it. You know, you should wear that as a badge of honor. You should showcase yourself to the external parties in your county, in your city, in your state. You should proactively be communicating with your first responders. You should proactively communicate, for obvious reasons. I hope that most of you already have a relationship with your local fire departments. It's important that you establish those relationships with them. Being that we know that there is a real fire, a tangible fire hazard when
Yeah.
handling electronics.
If
And
you
it's
haven't had a
hard to
battery
know.
fire yet, you're going to have one at some point.
You're going to have one at a thermal event is going to happen. A thermal event is going to happen. Coming from a facility where we didn't have big equipment shredders, okay? We just handled boxes of incoming equipment and did sorting and processing. Even, a facility doing those processes has thermal events. It
Oh, yeah.
happens.
You're going to have a collection event. You're going to get a swollen battery. It's going to get jammed in a box the wrong way, and you got a problem.
Absolutely. Unloading a Gaylord off of a fork, with your forklift, setting it down just the wrong way. There you go. There's your thermal event. you know, Thankfully, as I fall back on the communication plans internally with your staff, you've got quick action, you've got well-trained employees, they know exactly what to do, they've got well-maintained fire suppression equipment, very close at hand. So obviously, that internal communication in those situations is so critical. So you really do want to establish those good proactive relationships with your county and your city. Call up your fire department and say, hey, I really would like to get the fire chief to come to our facility one day. We'd like to show what we do. We would like to talk about battery safety. They oftentimes will come to your facility and you will educate them. I know that that is definitely the case with what happened in my city. We had the fire chief come in. He might have been a deputy chief. He came in. We educated him. How powerful is that? Okay. Having this system just makes you the expert. It really does. It makes you ahead of the curve. Yeah, so establish those relationships with your cities and your counties, your first responders, and your city officials. Okay. Having this RIOS system really is such a badge that you can advertise and you can market.
Yeah, you
Okay.
become a part of a community of best practices, and then you
Absolutely.
all are there to help you merchandise that the investment that that your members are making in their environmental health and safety and quality programs every day. If you're going to be having to do it anyway because it's part of your certification, you might as well leverage it to the maximum and get the maximum benefit.
Absolutely. Um, you're doing the work already. Why not talk about it? Why not
Exactly.
show how great that work is?
You do good work, and tell, please, the sidebar moment, just tell Tara too. Let us help you merchandise your story to a larger community. That's what we're here for.
That's right. All of these partnerships are all making us better. And you can showcase that. That is a huge benefit to you to showcase how great you really are and how proactive you are. Yeah, I mean, at any opportunity, you can do press releases. Using those robust RIOS external communication plans, you can set up frequent press releases for exciting programs you're doing. What were your recycling stats this month? How much did you take in? How many devices did you refurbish and repurpose that you saved from death in the landfill? Talk about these things. Your city officials will be excited about the benefits you're bringing to the community. They will be excited about the environmentally friendly jobs you're creating, okay? Whether you're a small business of 5 or 10 people, or you're a big business with multiple locations, that's impactful. That's impactful because each employee is in a green space, and that's great for the city. And it's great for you too.
And your local news stories, your newspapers still, your radio stations, television broadcasting, they're looking for good stories still. And it's amazing how many organizations don't send them information. You know, there's a lot of noise out there, but if you make some, you'll get noticed.
Absolutely. There's a lot of negative stories that come out, environmental hazards and different things. So why not be some positive news? Why not be a positive part of your community?
Exactly.
All right. So your RIOS superpower number 2, flex your muscles. Your footprint is power and planning. So with your system, you need to identify your particular company's environmental, health and safety, and quality risks. So the power of RIOS is your footprint, and it helps you put all those things together. So it's important that, as a RIOS member, all of the resources available to you. There are, and I mentioned the rig earlier, there are just countless buckets of resources and templates for you. They help you create this wonderful, robust plan for what are my quality impacts? What are my environmental impacts? What are my health and safety impacts? What are the legal requirements connected to those things? My customer and my product requirements. It's helping you pull all those things together.
And the
There is a
nice thing is
saying.
these are supportive documents, not prescriptive documents saying how people do things. It's showing them opportunities to do things the right way and
That's
being
correct.
creative and staying, being able to do your business the way you want to, but with guidance.
Correct. These are just some samples. You can build your system any way you like, but if you are just like, where do I start? How do I put all of this knowledge, this tribal knowledge onto a document? This is going to help you do that. Now you can take this and then you can tweak it to make it work for you. You can say, okay, I like this part, and now I'm going to add this to it to make it better and easier for me to use. I'm going to digitize this and share it with my teams. I mean, the opportunities are endless for you in terms of how you plan. But the beautiful thing about RIOS is it's ready for you, your particular activities. RIOS is designed just for those activities. It knows exactly based on what your commodities are, which RIOS is built for any recycling commodity. But specifically, with electronics, it's already ready for you. It says, okay, we already know that you're probably taking part in these activities. We know that you're doing sorting, dismantling, refurbishment. It already knows and assumes you're going to be taking part in some of these things. And then you just take it and you make it adapted exactly to your unique operations. And just like I said, no two businesses are just alike. I mentioned there may be some of you who have 5 or 10 employees. You're a little smaller. You might just do some light refurbishment. Maybe most of what you do is recycling. Maybe most of what you do is sending to a downstream vendor. Big guys might be doing everything. You might be taking things to end of life. You might be shredding. You might be smelting. You could be doing a whole host of things. The beautiful thing is, you write your footprint based exactly on what you do. And nothing else. If there are things that don't apply to you, you take them out because it's not part of your footprint. And
Yeah,
that's the beauty of that.
that's nice. Being specific and being scalable,
Yes. Yes.
is instead of trying to shoehorn, a system that was designed for a restaurant. It doesn't make any sense.
Exactly. That's exactly right. And oftentimes, and that's kind of what I tell people, if I'm talking about a RIOS and an ISO comparison, I say to them, if you're not starting from scratch building a new thing, RIOS might be a better thing for you. If you're dealing with a recycled material, we've already got the systems in place to evaluate those operations. ISO might make sense for people who are building a new product, but RIOS really makes sense for people who are repurposing something. Yeah, so make sure that you're doing a risk analysis specific to your unique operations. RIOS makes that so easy for you. Your risk evaluations should not be done one time. Remember that with the evolving nature of our industry, you should be looking at it all the time. You should revisit that document at minimum once a year. But certainly, as you have new exposures, if you have new risks that come up, or if you introduce a new process, let's say that in the past, you've never dismantled, but you're going to start dismantling. You're going to start pulling some valuable parts or components and doing something different with that. Well, you need to evaluate what risks you may be exposing your organization to by doing that. So that's just an example, but make sure that it is a living document for your organization. And RIOS has all of the tools to help you create and keep those documents frequently up to date. All right. So similar to what my friend Joe Clayton said, RIOS is a management system that is an affordable investment into your business, and it will reap priceless benefits over time. If you are already members of RIOS, you're doing great. That's incredible. And I just want to say that my email is open to you. And if there is anything that I can do to help you realize those benefits or offer any assistance or support, let me know. I am here for you. That is one of the greatest parts of being a RIOS member, is that you get that support. If you're currently using the ISO systems, that's also great. You're being a good, proactive, responsible recycler, but you should just know there are plenty of reasons why RIOS makes sense. Okay, I'm going to go over a few highlights for you. Yeah, there we go. RIOS superpower number 3, saving money.
There's the magic words.
Yes, it's secondary. It's another S, secondary benefits.
There we are. There we are.
So let's dig into a few of those. You will have far less equipment breakdowns. Okay. So if you are using your RIOS management system and your RIOS tools to help you with your regularly scheduled maintenance of all of your critical equipment in your facility, you are going to experience far fewer breakdowns. Okay. Regular maintenance is critical, and having a system in place to make sure those maintenance checks are done, make sure they're scheduled, that is what is going to lead to fewer equipment breakdowns. If you have to call out the forklift guy 2 or 3 times, your RIOS system already paid for itself.
And the system that's available for a car, so I can keep my wife from yelling at me all the time.
Look, in a perfect world, if I could make RIOS for real life, okay, maybe that's in development. Less accidents and injuries, less employee absenteeism is going to lead to better productivity in your ongoing projects, your ongoing operations. If you have team members, especially if you're a smaller group, if you've got team members that are so critical to your ongoing projects, if you've got X number of loads you're trying to send out this month, and you got a guy who's out with an injury, out for 2 weeks, you got a guy, he's been sick, but he came to work, made other people sick. you've got all of this absenteeism that is severely impacting the ability to get your projects out and make money for your organization.
Or you have turnover. I mean, this is a tough, employment environment right now.
It sure
And
is.
and
Yeah,
and training people up takes some time.
absolutely. Greater employee satisfaction in their workplace, in their work environment, with their safety protocols. But some studies were done recently. Employee satisfaction, one of the keys to employee satisfaction is a workplace where they feel safe. Okay. When you have a robust RIO system in place, your employees are going to be safe. They're going to feel safe. Okay. They're going to be proactive members of their safety teams. Safety is going to be part of their everyday. So you will have better employee satisfaction, and that's going to be less turnover, less headaches, less hiring, less onboarding, less training. Think about the time you save just not having to replace people.
That's thousands, tens of
Thousands.
thousands.
Yes. Positive public image. Okay. People are going to see you. Okay. Your community is going to see you. Businesses talk. Hey, did I tell you what happened? I was able to get a whole bunch of devices from, ABC Recycler. They were incredible. I saved so much money. I just had a great experience with them. Oh, I'm going to call them because I need to get, 50 devices for this project I'm doing. Word travels. Good reputations really get around. And if you can establish that positive public image, it is going to lead to more business opportunities for you. That's more money in the door, more customers. Shorter audit times is going to lead to less money spent on an audit.
That's a biggie.
Fewer, yeah, fewer returns.
That's thousands of dollars a day.
Yes, fewer returns. Yeah, I actually, I had somebody tell me the difference. Okay, I had a business that was looking at the audit costs. They were trying to decide whether to do ISO or whether to do RIOS. The difference between those two, and I'm sure it's very dependent on the size of your business, the activities going on in your business, but the difference in price of those two audits was about $2,500. So there you go. But that's just one example, but you 100% are going to have a shorter audit and it will be a lower cost. Fewer returns of merchandise or rejected merchandise. If you are using this robust RIO system with all of its quality control measures, you are going to make sure those things are not happening or happening at a much lower rate. Your customers are going to be happy and satisfied with the merchandise they receive. So that's just a few ways that you are going to save lots of money, lots more dollars in your pocket with secondary benefits. So let's talk about just getting the most out of your RIOS management system, okay? You will empower your staff, okay? Having this system means that they feel like they're a part of your business. It makes them feel like they have a lot of say-so with how their workday goes, with their safety, with their procedures, with their outcomes. Reduce your insurance premiums. You having a robust quality environmental health and safety system, and implementing that and maintaining that will save you money on your insurance, on your workers' comp, on your general liability insurance. Contact your insurance broker, discuss it with them, show them your system. In my situation, in my experience, we were also registered with OSHA as a SHARP facility. So SHARP is just a voluntary safety and health, membership. And when you have RIOS and R2 or, e-stewards, obtaining SHARP is a piece of cake. Having all of those things, when I contacted my insurance broker, I got a reduction on my premiums. And of course, I know that varies from state to state or from broker to broker, but insurance company to insurance company, but you 100% have the opportunity to reduce your insurance premiums with this system. You're going to stay ahead of regulations. Whether you like it or not, regulation is coming for you. Some states are already regulating. Some already have some pretty big language written for how recycling activities should be happening. And just know that eventually everyone is going to have to regulate to some level. Having this system just means that you're already in front of it. It just means that we've already done the work to make sure we're being responsible. We're doing it right. We're protecting our environment. We're making sure hazardous waste is not going into the landfill. We're making sure that we are serving our community with refurbished devices. We're doing the most with our recycling activities.
You're getting
So
informed by this community of RIOS versus an ISO, which is not connected to the industry and doesn't have the same finger on the pulse that you all do.
that's exactly right. And it's very important that you also have access to a network. You have a network of other recyclers that if you have not yet experienced that legal requirement or that regulation, guess what? I bet you have some partners in California or in Oregon who may have already experienced that and can share that knowledge. Okay. So we are, an educational network, and we want all of the membership to be educated and know what the best practices are. So staying ahead of regulations, marketing. Okay. I kind of put that at the end, but oftentimes people obtain certification for that number one. They want to be able to sell themselves. They want to be able to showcase themselves with a brand. And that is most certainly a benefit. That is 100% a benefit. If you are in a lineup with 5 other guys and you've got your certified brand, I'm a RIOS certified recycler, I'm an R2 certified recycler, I'm an eStewards recycler. When you wear those certified brands, guess who they're going to pick? Okay. They're going to pick somebody who has taken voluntary measures to showcase the responsible ways that they do their business.
That's why we're out here. There's all about, certification matters.
It absolutely matters because there's a lot of bad actors. And then, foremost, I want for every member of RIOS to just lean into that RIOS support because it's included for free. That's a big value for you. You've got a support system. You didn't just, buy this product, get this certificate, and that's the end of it. You've got just support it's invaluable. It's priceless.
Yeah. The,
All
the
right.
people behind it is what really the difference is.
That's right. So, this is my final slide, and I'm going to leave you with a story from one of our certified members. Using this management system has worked for them to improve their business outcomes. He said, my business began using RIOS to manage QEHS outcomes. Within 6 months of implementing RIOS, our recycling operations saw such a drop in rejected shipments and after-sale adjustments, it more than paid for all of the costs of implementation, and all of the customers were happier. And that is
That says it
a
all.
real story. That's a true story. So I bet many of our members have probably experienced a lot of the same things. So that is the end of my presentation. And I would just like to, again, Stephen, thank you for letting me share and really educate this audience, and just invite anyone who has more questions any inquiries, if you currently have ISO, but you think RIOS could be a better fit, I am happy to have a conversation. Please reach out. This is my email address, and my inbox is open.
And for those that are listening instead of watching, that's S for Tita. That's 3 T's in there. SFERTITTA at rioscertification.org.
Yes.
Because this is actually, for the first time, going to be available as a listen-only option. So I'm excited about that, too. So again, thank you, Shannon, for being our guinea pig this year, or so I guess this year. It's hard to believe it's 2025. But yeah, so this is recorded. We're going to launch it. This will be available at 3 p.m. Eastern, which is just in a couple of hours. 3 p.m. Eastern. So this is going to be the way we kind of do these going forward, which I'm excited about, and I'm excited that you were our first. Thank you for sharing, the S's as it relates to RIOS.
Absolutely.
I guess that's simple savings, streamlined systems and saving. Did I say savings twice? Because heck, you double the savings.
And secondary benefits.
Secondary benefits.
Yes.
And there's one thing we did not do, which we're going to put at the end of this commentary, is there was a little video, I think, had some testimonial information, a little bit more information about RIOS. So if you hang on after we conclude here, you'll be able to watch that. It's just a couple of minutes long, so it'll be included in our presentation.
Fantastic.
But thank you all. Thank you, Shannon. Thank you, everyone, for paying attention, listening to us today. We will be back again next month, February the 20th at 3 p.m. Eastern. You all take care now.
What RIOS allows us to do is make sure they're industry best-in-class systems.
It doesn't matter whether you're doing electronics, you're doing plastic, you're doing ferrous, non-ferrous, you're still a business. And all the rules out there and the regulations, they're all still going to apply.
Lost mandates from a safety program cost your company a lot of money. If you're not, as a management team, doing a good job of measuring that and analyzing that and improving that, there's negative financial consequences to all those things. Doing them right actually has a tremendous cost benefit.
It says that we've reinvested in our business. We care about our community. We care about the quality that we're producing.
When you start to work with larger companies like that, they start to ask a lot more questions about your business. You can't just hide out in the darkness and nobody pay attention to what you're doing. If you want to put yourself out there, they're going to want to examine every part of your business.
RIOS is going to come alongside you and help you get to that certified level.
It helps you tell your story. If you are meeting with your commercial banker and they are struggling with understanding what you do day to day, when you start to explain the certification process and our management system and the areas we focus on, that causes some of your stakeholders to have more confidence in how you run your operations.
At the end of the day, when you need these programs, you'll be happy that you have them because they'll get you out of tight jams and then they'll just improve your business as a whole.
ISRI and RIOS have really dramatically improved our corporate culture. I think that without those two entities, I don't think we could be where we're at today.